A look back to Belgian royal ladies' wedding attire. Belgian royal wedding dresses are known for their understated elegance, often featuring refined craftsmanship, delicate lace, and subtle embellishments. While not as flashy as some other royal weddings, they typically showcase timeless and regal styles. Belgian royal weddings tend to favor a sophisticated, refined look over overt extravagance. Timeless and classic silhouettes, clean lines, and luxurious fabrics are common. Delicate fine lace details and intricate embroidery often adorn the gowns. While not always the focal point, long trains are a frequent feature, adding a touch of drama. Belgian royal brides often incorporate heirloom veils and tiaras, adding a sentimental and historical element to their attire. Crown Princess Astrid of Belgium 1926. Princess Astrid entered into a civil marriage with Prince Leopold in Stockholm on 4 November, 1926, and the pair were married religiously in Cathedral of St. Michael and St. Gudula, Brussels on 10 November, 1926. The couple travelled separately to Antwerp after their civil marriage and reunited in Belgium. The wedding was a grand royal event, symbolizing a union between the Belgian and Swedish royal families. Astrid wore different dresses for her two wedding ceremonies, both of satin. The Swedish dress trimmed with seed pearls, a scoop neckline with scalloped layers of lace-trimmed satin at the hem. During the Swedish ceremony, Astrid wore a myrtle crown, which was a traditional accessory for Swedish brides. Astrid also wore a diamond necklace, her uncle King Gustav of Sweden gave her as a wedding present. Astrid's wedding attire included a Brussels lace veil, which had previously been worn by her mother and sister. The veil was a fitting choice given her future role as Queen of the Belgians. For the religious ceremony at the Cathedral of St. Michael and St. Gudula, Astrid wore a cream wrap dress with sprig of the lilies of the valley at her waist. The dress was a House of Worth creation, specifically designed by Jean-Philippe Worth, and featured a butterfly motif in the Art Nouveau style. The skirt of her dress featured more Brussels lace with a train carried by 4 pages dressed in white. The train was trimmed with the embroidered flowers and seeds pearls. The color was reported very becoming with the dark-haired Astrid. She carried a bouquet of lilies of the valley and orchards. The dress was accompanied by a matching metal headpiece, also designed in the Art Nouveau style. Princess Astrid was warmly welcomed by the Belgian people, who admired her charm and simplicity. Princess Marie-José of Belgium 1930. Princess Marie-José of Belgium married Crown Prince Umberto of Italy on January 8, 1930, in Rome at the Quirinal Palace. Princess Marie-José wore a gown designed by her groom. Although Marie-José rose early in the morning, hours before the ceremony, she nearly arrived at the altar late. Defying superstitions, Umberto had come to see his bride before the wedding. With his attention to details and aesthetic perfectionism, he was infuriated to find that the sleeves on her gown had been sewed on the wrong way. Perhaps no one would have noticed, but the prince insisted on remedying the situation, in the end, by having the sleeves completely removed and replaced with long white gloves. It was ironic, as Marie-José had not even wanted to wear this gown, preferring simpler, more modern attire, but Umberto had insisted on the utmost grandeur. In fact, he had personally helped to design the dress, an elaborate creation of white and silver. Marie-José also wore Queen Margaretha's Musée tiara. Princess Josephine Charlotte of Belgium 1953. Princess Josephine Charlotte of Belgium married Grand Duke Jean of Luxembourg in a civil ceremony followed by a religious one on April 9, 1953, in Luxembourg City. The civil ceremony took place in the morning at the Grand Ducal Palace, and the religious ceremony at the Cathédrale Notre Dame. The couple had previously announced their engagement in November 1952. The couple traveled in an open carriage to the cathedral, cheered on by a large crowd of well-wishers. Princess Josephine Charlotte of Belgium wore a stunning white gown. The dress featured a full skirt, a fitted bodice with a layer of tulle, a high, ruffled neckline. The neckline was adorned with pleated flounces. The sleeves were narrow and fitted to the wrists. It was made of white organza with a tulle overlay and included handmade lace. The train was a significant feature, measuring 14 feet long and made of handmade needlepoint and pillow lace with flower motifs. The veil was also made of tulle and lined with handmade lace. The princess wore a diamond tiara and carried a bouquet of flowers. Princess Josephine Charlotte reportedly experienced some nervousness during the ceremony, and was seen trembling and nearly fainting at one point. Queen Paola married in 1959. Princess Paola Ruffo di Calabria married then Prince Albert, later King Albert II, on July 2, 1959. The wedding included both a civil ceremony and a religious service. The civil ceremony took place at the Royal Palace of Brussels, followed by a religious ceremony at the Cathedral of St. Michael and St. Gudula. The bride wore a simple dress of heavy white satin featuring 3/4 length sleeves, a fitted waist adorned with a bow and a long full skirt with a 5-meter train. She wore a Brussels lace veil which was the main focus of the outfit, made of Brussels lace. The piece was first worn at the wedding of her Belgian grandmother in 1877, and later by her mother. It has since been used by her daughter and 2 daughters-in-law at their weddings. The specific designer responsible for the creation has never been identified. Prince Albert wore naval uniform with the sash and star of the Order of Leopold and the collar of the Order of Malta. Their royal wedding was never meant to be the start of a monarchical marriage, but it ended up having a far greater impact than anyone could have expected at the time. Queen Fabiola married 1960. The wedding of King Baudouin of Belgium and Dona Fabiola de Moura y Aragon took place on Thursday, the 15th of December, 1960. The couple was married first in a civil ceremony held in the throne room of the Royal Palace of Brussels and then in a Roman Catholic ceremony at the Cathedral of St. Michael and St. Gudula. The brides wore a white silk and tulle gown, trimmed with ermine, had a high neckline, 3/4 length sleeves with a drop waist and a full skirt. It was designed by Cristobal Balenciaga and had a 6 meters, 20 feet, long train. She wore the Art Deco diamond tiara given to her late mother-in-law at the time of her own marriage in 1926. The groom wore the uniform of a lieutenant general of the armed forces with the riband and star of the Belgian Order of Leopold and the collar of the Spanish Order of Isabella the Catholic. Radio Television Belge, RTB, and Belgisch Radio en Television Rep, BRT, jointly produced the live television signal of the wedding that they broadcast in Belgium and that was relayed to the broadcasters in the continent through the Eurovision network. Princess Astrid married 1984. Princess Astrid of Belgium, the only daughter of King Albert II of Belgium and Donna Paola Ruffo di Calabria, married Archduke Lorenz of Austria-Est, son of the Archduke of Austria-Est and Princess Margareta of Savoy-Roster, at the Church of Our Blessed Lady of the Sablon in Brussels, on the 22nd of September, 1984. Astrid embraced the exuberant style of the era in a bold puffball-sleeved gown, taking center stage beside her dapper new husband, Archduke Lorenz of Austria-Est. The bride's magnificent taffeta gown was the work of local couturier Louis Mies, which she accessorized with an antique Ruffo di Calabria veil, dating back to Queen Paola's grandmother, Laura Mosselman du Chesnoy, and a pretty floral crown. Her husband was created Prince of Belgium by royal decree on the 27th of November, 1995. Queen Mathilde married 1999. On December 4, 1999, Mathilde Diudicum Diakos walked into the Town Hall of Brussels for the start of her marriage celebrations to the heir to the throne of Belgium, Philippe. Mathilde's marriage turned her into the first Belgian-born woman in line to be queen of her country, and she made sure her wedding dress underlined her roots and her role as a consort-in-waiting. Mathilde had 2 weddings that day, a civil ceremony at Brussels Town Hall followed by a religious marriage at the Cathedral of St. Michel and St. Gudule. She chose to wear the same outfit for both. The bride appeared before the crowds that had gathered to cheer her on her way to the altar dressed all in white. Mathilde chose a full-length coat dress with statement collar and long, fitted sleeves. The center fastening, with its neat row of buttons, gave way to a full skirt that fanned into a long train. Beneath the coat dress was a fitted gown in the same shade of deep white. It was a classic design but, like the bride who wore it, it had hidden depths. Mathilde chose a Belgian designer for her wedding gown to underline her role as the first home-born consort her country would ever have. Édouard Vermeulen of the design house, Noten, created the gown which was also the last major royal wedding dress of the 20th century. There were links, too, to other Belgian queens. The bride borrowed an heirloom lace veil from her new mother-in-law, Queen Paola, to complete her wedding outfit. The vintage Brussels lace had belonged to the family of Italian-born Paola for decades. It was held in place by a tiara loaned to Mathilde by Queen Paula but which had first belonged to Queen Elizabeth of the Belgians, the great-grandmother of the royal groom, Philippe. Mathilde carried a rather large bouquet of white flowers and foliage. Mathilde's dress had all the spectacle required of a royal wedding gown, but the endless fabric involved in the outfit required some careful management. Princess Claire of Belgium 2003. Princess Claire of Belgium married Prince Laurent in 2003. The civil ceremony was held at Brussels Town Hall, and the religious ceremony took place at the Cathedral of St. Michael and St. Gudula. Claire Coombs arrived with her father, Mr. Nicholas Coombs, and Prince Laurent arrived with his mother, Queen Paula. The couple was greeted by the mayor of Brussels at the Lion Staircase. The public outside enthusiastically cheered the couple. Princess Claire wore a beautiful lace and satin wedding gown. The dress was made of ivory chantilly silk with a sheer neckline, intricately embroidered with plant motifs in cream and silver silk threads. The ivory silk tulle veil was embroidered with similar motifs to her gown. She wore a floral diamond tiara belonging to the Luxembourg royal family. Elisabetta Maria of Belgium married 2014. Princess Elisabetta Maria of Belgium, also known as Lily, married Prince Amedeo of Belgium, son of Princess Astrid and Prince Lorenz, on July 5, 2014, in Rome. The ceremony took place at the Basilica Santa Maria in Trastevere. Elisabetta wore a Valentino-designed wedding dress. The dress featured a high illusion bodice and 3/4 length sleeves made of ivory point d'Esprit tulle, trimmed with rebroad lace. The lace detailing and tulle were also incorporated into the full skirt, which flowed into a sweeping train. She also wore a 5-meter-long point d'Esprit tulle veil, also trimmed with chantilly lace, and Queen Elizabeth's diamond bandeau tiara. The couple's wedding was a significant event, with many members of the Belgian royal family in attendance, including King Philippe and Queen Mathilde. Princess Maria Laura married 2022. Princess Maria Laura of Belgium married William Isvey in Brussels on September 10, 2022. The wedding included both a civil ceremony at Brussels City Hall and a religious ceremony at the Cathedral of St. Michel-et-Gudule. The civil ceremony was a private affair with about 35 guests, while the religious ceremony was a grander event with over 500 guests, including the Belgian royal family. For the civil ceremony at Brussels Town Hall, the bride wore a 1960s-inspired ecru mini dress with pleated empire waist by Gucci. Princess Maria Laura paired the dress with modern diamond and pearl drop earrings, the same ones worn by her sister-in-law Princess Elisabetta at her wedding in 2014, and ecru chunky-heeled Gucci pumps. For religious ceremony, the bride turned to British designer Vivienne Westwood for her custom silk gown. Westwood utilized both her corset mastery and inspiration from 18th-century women's fashion for the gown's beautifully draped bodice. The open neckline is anchored with cap sleeves and the gown falls from the hip is reminiscent of ancient Greek statues. It's a gown that relies entirely on construction and drape for its statement. Couture royal gowns are not a new thing, we've seen many, but sometimes they overwhelm the wearer. This one does not. Less successful, I think, is the 4-meter, 13-foot, long train which attaches by a belt at the waist, especially created for Maria Laura, to create the drama and presence needed for the cathedral. Maybe it was the wind on this very blustery, rainy day, but something about the belt attachment doesn't quite work from all angles. The unembellished dress creates a stunning background for the lace veil. Made of exquisite Brussels lace, the floral patterned veil with scalloped edge is a family heirloom originally worn by Queen Paula's Belgian grandmother, Laura Mosselman du Chesnoy, in 1877. After Queen Paula wore it for her 1959 wedding, it has become a tradition for Belgian royal brides we've seen worn previously by Princess Astrid, Queen Mathilde and Princess Claire. Princess Maria Laura anchored the veil with the Savoy Aosta diamond tiara, an heirloom piece from her father's Austrian royal family. It makes for an overall bridal look that's a lovely mix of modernity and tradition, the dress, veil and tiara pairing so beautifully together while incorporating pieces from both sides of her family. The ensemble was completed with diamond drop earrings. Young pages and bridesmaids, including Princess Maria Laura's niece Anna and nephew Maximilian, were in mustard yellow silk ensembles, the bridesmaids with wreaths of fresh flowers in their hair. Princess Letizia corralled the group in an ivory blouse and yellow floral skirt topped with an emerald silk ruched bandeau headpiece.